So over the years, I've repeatedly come back to brands like Dr. Martens and Solovair for that classic stripped down British derby boot style. They just look great on, really simple, classic look. And after all, if you've been around for a while, you know it's what the channel was built on. First reviews I did were around the Dr. Martens For Life range. Long discontinued, wonderful offer, lots of videos, but over the years we've done Solovair, we've done the Made in England, but even the best of those offerings, like the Solovairs here, or the Made in England Dr. Martens there and the Oxblood, they all suffer from the same thing. The leather is coated, corrected, it doesn't last. The soles are soft, comfortable but soft. They don't last, and at the end of all that, you don't really have a recraftable, resolable boot. So that's where Goral come in with their Sharman model, and whilst it's very much its own boot, I think it's pretty easy to see it does borrow that silhouette. Absolutely beautiful rendition of it, and it does so using the best quality materials. So we've got the Hawaiian Chrome Excel full grain leather uppers, you've got a Blake stitched cup sole, Italian leather lining, absolutely top quality British handmade boots. Of course, that does come at a price, and I do repeatedly get reprimanded for not referencing price early on in videos. These are at a different price point. These are currently retailing for £355, so a different offering, but a boot which will last you, with resoling, for a very long time. Before we come in and take a look at some of the details on these boots, it's probably worth sharing a little bit about the brand. Until I spotted these on Instagram, I wasn't particularly familiar with the brand Goral myself. They are a relatively young UK brand, formed in 2018. Really small team operating out of Sheffield. So a classic boot making territory in the UK. Despite being sort of so young in years, their small team does have over 80 years of experience, and I think they're really doing something quite different, something quite interesting. For starters, they seem to use these cup style soles extensively on their sort of high-end recraftable trainers, and here on the Sharmans. Really interesting to see something so proprietary, really big on the resoling and making sure your boots last for life. And the boots all go back to the factory. I'm sure you could have them recrafted by a skilled cobbler, but when you're sort of talking about these fairly unique sole constructions, I think you probably all want to get them back to Goral. But yeah, I think they're doing something quite special. UK brand. I love a good sole. This looks cracking. So yeah, let's take a little look at the details. Starting off with the sole, I think the sole is undoubtedly my favourite part of these boots. First of all, you know, the silhouette is similar to other boots, but the sole is so very Goral, absolutely proprietary. A couple of unique features, obviously the tread pattern, the cup edge to it, but also the compound. Well, certainly the way they promote the compound. So they reference this as being a 70 geometer. And if you followed me for a few years, you'll know that a few years ago I got pretty obsessed by testing the geometer of rubber using a little device like this, and sort of finding that correlation between the hardness of the rubber and its longevity and comfort. To a degree, the harder the rubber, the longer the life. 70, I think, is a pretty sweet spot. Got a little bit of give, but also an awful lot of life. The tread pattern, super deep, or relatively deep compared to the treads you'd find on Doc Martens. Obviously a worn example here, but pretty much full depth on the right hand side here as I look at it, and you can see just how much more tread Goral is offering there. So instantly a longer lasting sole. Completely unique sole design with this cup edge. Reminds me somewhat of a sort of integrated storm welt. So my thinking is it keeps a little bit of water away from the upper there, but actually the real sort of gain here is around flexibility. So they use these cup style soles on their trainers. Construction is a Blake stitch. Again, something I haven't had before. That is a single stitch into the upper and insole, connecting it all together, rather than the more traditional Goodyear welt that we see as an example on these trickers, which simply connects a strip at the edge of the sole there into the midsole, in this case a leather midsole, and rubber commando sole beyond. So different sort of construction, equally recraftable, although as I said earlier, I think these are probably going back to the Goral factory because these soles are so unique. What you can't see beyond this is the construction below or above the sole, and we've gone completely traditional. We've got a steel shank in there for stability. We've got a cork midsole which will shape to your foot. Very traditional values, as I say, higher price point than things like Doc Martens and Solovair by quite some magnitude, but you are getting a properly built boot. Like Doc Martens and their counterparts, we've got a nice Puritan triple stitch there. Very simple construction. Heel stay, nice little loop at the back to pull them on. Very rugged leather. Of course, leather here is top quality Horween Chrome Excel. I think that's a uniquely American leather, but very well regarded. In the sort of other colours they offer, you'll see a good amount of patina. Obviously on black, it's pretty much going to stay black. Moving up the boot, you've got 8 eyelets and some pretty promising looking laces. These are top quality, sort of slightly waxy cotton laces. Always get a little bit nervous with a lace which doesn't seem well constructed, because the frustration of having snapped lace when you don't want one is something I'd well avoid, but these are looking pretty good. All the edges are sort of folded, turned and stitched. It's a nice edge detail there, where the outer layer of leather is folded in, and you've got a little bit of liner around the collar there. Just taking a look at the inside there, you've got the edging piece there following around all the eyelets and around the ankle, nicely detailed. You've got a little bit of manufacturing sort of artifacts there, which I always like to see. I think they call it sort of the clicking where you can see the ridges left by the machine as they run round with the stitch. Always like to see that. It just sort of shouts handmade. Got a nice bellows tongue to keep the dust, debris and water out of your boot. And on the inside you've got this nice Italian calf leather lining, leather insole rounded up with Goral. Yeah, top quality. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of the review. If you've had any experiences with Goral or these particular Sharman boots, let me know what you think. I think they're quite a promising newish UK brand. You know I love a good sole, and I think we've got some special stuff going on there. Really keen to get these broken in, put some miles on them, see how that 70 durometer rubber wears. I think these are going to be pretty good for long life, whilst maintaining the sort of comfort using that cup style sole. First time I've had a Blake Stitch cup sole. So yeah, if you've had any experiences with these or the brand, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. If you've had any thoughts around Solovair, whether you think they're worth the hype, let me know. I'll probably do an update after all these years on a few pairs of Solovairs I've got. And yeah, if you haven't seen the channel before, please check it out. Lots of quality footwear, including sort of the big American heritage brands and a few of the smaller British brands, Trickers and Solovair and so forth. If you found the video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you for the next video. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.